Hey guys, GhazzyTV here with another Path of Exile video, and in this one I'm going to quickly go through league starters or event starters for 3.19 Mayhem event. It's my initial plan was to basically make a video where I was going to show you the gameplay footage of all these builds and be like, yo, you can try this, you can try that. But then I realized it's going to be a replica of the video I made for 3.19 league starter, the actual Laker Calendar League. And I didn't want to do that. So instead of wasting your time and wasting my time and make some sort of clickbait shit video just to make sure I get some views on YouTube, I'm going to give you guys some actual context with information quickly and easily to digest so you can make up your own mind with what you want to play. Before we do that, I'm not going to tell you to sub and whatnot. Well, I guess I just did. But I will tell you this. The event lasts 10 days. It's a 10-day event. You don't want to set your eyes in to make a super big character, mirror tier, or high budget in that sense. You want to make sure that you actually have fun during this event. It's a Mayhem event. There's going to be a lot of cool things happening, a lot of monsters spawning, and that usually forces people into the idea of looking at a clear speed focused build. Ultimately, with 10 days of the event, just make sure that you do something that you have fun with. Set a goal for yourself. Maybe you want to kill a certain boss. Maybe you want to clear something. Maybe you want to try a different build. Just make sure you have a set goal for what you have in mind for this 10-day event. The builds in my list is very straightforward and very simple to go through, and I just made a quick TLDR list. I think that builds such as SRS or Absolution when it comes to the minion department is really good. They will be carrying on from the start. You can level with both of those builds. I do prefer to level with Absolution myself. Both of these builds are absolutely amazing, and they should work very well for this type of event, where I would arguably say that SRS has better clearing than Absolution, but Absolution can also be carried quite well. Do keep in mind that these builds do want to use an Animate Guardian, and with a clear speed focused approach, you can always make sure that you get an exploding version of the AG. Now, obviously, if you check the links in the descriptions below, you'll get access to my build guide hub, in which you have the Absolution guide, SRS guide. But if you scroll down, you also have access to the Animate Guardian gearing guide, which talks about the different things you can do that. And the exploding version of the AG is a very effective way to increase the clear speed of those things. You can also find a bunch of other guides that will work very well for this event here as well. So that's basically it, and they will have gameplay footage included as well, of course. Obviously, since there will be a lot of things being thrown in our faces, we do need to survive. So I would say that anything related to Pox will be a very good choice to play for this event as well. He has a river of a plethora of Righteous Fire content that you can check out as well. I'll leave a link in the descriptions below for Pox content as well. He's been playing that for a very long time, and I think most of you guys already know about it. He's one of the OG streamers, and yeah, Righteous Fire is a super solid choice for this build, for this event. I think that Lightning Conduit is also one of those hidden gems. Well, I guess it's not so much hidden these days, so I think Lightning Conduit will work very well. There's plenty of guides available. I know PvE Vault has one. There's plenty of other streamers who make guides for Lightning Conduit as well. I would probably stay away from the squishier versions, like the Ranger versions of this, and go for another style. But sorry, that's for Lightning Strike, my bad. But Lightning Conduit will be very good. However, Lightning Strike is in the same boat, but those I would probably stay away from the Ranger versions and go for the other styles of Lightning Strike. And the reason I'm looking at this is because this is one of the best league starters a lot of people have been playing in the last few leagues, actually. And it's actually one of the most played builds in the current state of this league. So if we go to builds and we look at the first week of Laker Calendar, you can see that Lightning Strike is the most played. After that comes Righteous Fire, and then we actually have Spark and EA and a couple of other builds. And moving over to like week 4, you can see that Lightning Strike and RF still maintains the highest played build. And week 8, you can see that Lightning Strike is still on top, and the latest snapshot, you should be able to see that Lightning Strike is still up there. So by clicking into the Lightning Strike, and I can check week 1, you'll see that a lot of people playing Pathfinder and Champion, and I would arguably say that Champion should be a bit better. Then again, it's always a matter of personal preference. There are plenty of guides out there for these builds, and definitely think that that's something you should be looking into if you're interested in trying it out. Another build would be the Dark Pact character. This is one of my favorites. I'm actually logged in on the Dark Pact character here myself. I just recently made a couple of videos in this, being the Dark Pact build guide that I have here. It's actually one of my favorite builds in the game. And on my YouTube channel, I actually made a couple of videos talking about the defensive scaling as well as damage scaling. These are about 15 minutes or 14 minutes, 11 minutes long video. They go through and explain and elaborate the mechanical approach of both defenses and offensive scaling for Dark Pact, the way I'm playing it with the skeletons, because it can be very hard to understand how a build. Now I'm playing the glass cannon version, and I have about 1700 life and 3000 energy shield, which might look very low, but it's actually very tanky, despite this case being a glass cannon version of it. This build is actually very, very reliable. There's a defensive version in my guide, of course, as well. The build is originally designed to actually tank and clear 100% Delirium maps before the Arch Nemesis changes. The reason I made a glass cannon out of it was actually to be able to carry 6-man Feared and Uber Elders and Mavens with 6 people in the party. Which is why I made this. The amount of damage you can push out of this build is just absolutely disgusting. This character is doing about 220 million shape per DPS. But again, it's a glass cannon. Can very easily have about 50 to 100 million on a high body version whilst being extremely tanky. And you don't need that much damage. You can literally cut that in half, if not more, and then literally be a super tank with this kind of build. It's very fun to play, but it's very niche because it's a 2-button build. Cast skeletons, and then you cast your Dark Bite on top of those skeletons. And that's basically it when it comes to that build. Spark, I'll take last. I think golems, I want to mention this real quick, and that is the fact that I think most versions with golems will work very well. The guide that I have on the PoE Vault, for example, I put the tier down a little bit on this one to an A tier, and the reason for that is I made a very tanky version to make it smoother for new and newer players. You can definitely make it do more damage, especially if you go with like an elementalist, but you lose so much defense that I didn't like that. I didn't feel comfortable with being that squishy. And that's just a low budget approach. In the higher budget versions, you can keep up with that focus, which is what I did with my guide. There are other versions of higher budget, which works very well with the Lake of Calandra mechanic, which is going with the Doriani's prototype. And Doriani's prototype is really cool because, again, it allows you to do the same thing as we have with the SRS Absolution approach, where you're using the Animate Guardian with a pair of Gravebind gloves, with Impulsa. And that kind of approach is really cool because that interaction allows you to make sure that the Animate Guardian is the one that's guaranteed getting the actual killing blow counted as his kills. And because of that, you can then have Impulsa, whilst you're doing a lot of lightning damage with conversions to the Triad Grip gloves, make sure that enemies actually get shocked. And whilst the enemy garden is within range, the enemies will explode, and you create these explosions to clear maps much faster. Obviously, there's some downsides with the idea that your armor is mitigating lightning damage from hits, which means you're going to be squishy towards lightning dots, for example. The way to solve this to some degree is to spec into Lethe Shade. This helps a little bit, but you still have to be wary of this downside of that approach. But that's basically the kind of style that I would say would work fine. And all of these versions will work perfectly fine with a Golem build. I don't think there's going to be any issues. I do personally believe that the other choices are better. The build that I will be playing, however, will be these two. The reason for that is that I've never played, well, actually I have played, but it's been ages, many years ago that I played Spark. I saw that Goratha has an absolutely amazing Spark build. I saw that Jungon has an amazing Spark build guide as well. Both of these guides are crazy good. So I was very happy to see the level of professionalism from these guide creators with these builds. I will be playing Goratha's version actually myself because the Jungon version does require some key items to make the self-chill approach work very well. This Goratha's version does not need that. I will obviously leave a link in the description to his build guide there. You can see some of the gameplay footage of this in a Minotaur map, and this build is actually surprisingly tanky despite being focused on clearing with it, which is really cool and something I want to see in the Mayhem. So I'm very excited to try out the Spark Inquisitor approach to this build, and if I during the 10-day event will be able to get hold of the items that allows me to go self-chill, I will then transition that over to the version that Jungon has, which also looked crazy cool to play. So I'm very excited about this because I haven't played Spark in such a long time, so I'm very excited about it. But again, I will put the links in the descriptions below. Hope you guys will enjoy it. And like I mentioned earlier, I don't want to waste time with this video, so I'm just gonna call it. Hope you guys found something useful in this video. Hit the like button, subscribe for content, blah blah, comment, yada yada. Catch you guys in the next one. Till then, stay safe and keep rocking.